What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be getting into some of the actual gameplay aspects for earning KEM strikes. More specifically, we're going to be talking about how to successfully navigate the map to maximize life expectancy while also staying in the action. Welcome to KEM Tactics. Alright, so moving around the map properly is extremely important for going on high streaks. Since Domination is my preferred game mode for earning KEMs, most of what I'll be talking about will be centered around Domination, but many of these things will definitely be crossing over into other game modes as well. So the number one thing that I see people doing wrong when going for high streaks is they move around the map in a predictable manner. I love playing against predictable players. It makes my job so much easier, so be as unpredictable as possible with the routes you take. So for example, on Siege, if you've been using that underground route where all the water is, and you've killed quite a few enemies by doing this, it may be time to switch it up, because even a below average player will eventually catch on to this and they'll find a way to kill you. This sort of leads me to my next point, and that is, don't overstay your welcome. If you've been locking down a building for 10 kills or something like that, it's usually only a matter of time before the enemy finds a way to kill you. Anytime I get around 2 to 3 kills in one specific area, I try to change it up and attack from a different angle as long as it's safe to do so. Some people will say that locking down one small area is the best way to get a KEM, but I disagree, unless we're talking about free-for-all, because that's a completely different story. By locking down an area, you're being predictable, and any player with half a mind and thumbs will either learn to avoid you completely, which will just take your kills away from you, or they'll eventually find a way to kill you. You may kill them 10 times, but all it takes is them killing you once to end your streak, so don't push your luck. The next thing I want to mention about navigating the map is to be sort of passive-aggressive. This is how I like to play anyways. You might want to push up, get a couple of kills, but then immediately fall back to the relative safety of your teammates. This not only makes you unpredictable to your enemies, it also allows you to sort of regroup your thoughts so that you can make another smart push in the future. When going for high streaks, you want to be able to keep a clear head so that you can make quick and smart decisions, and if you're just constantly throwing yourself in the middle of the action, it can get really tough to do that, and it's really easy to make mistakes in those situations as well. So make sure you allow yourself the time to regroup every now and then. So now let's talk about routes. Another big problem I see with people is their inability to move around the map while avoiding being picked off by a sniper or by someone that's just holding down a power position. A lot of avoiding this simply comes down to map knowledge. You have to learn the popular power positions and sniper perches and find a way to either avoid them or to counter them. So for instance, on Whiteout, if I don't have a teammate in or around the big sinking ship area of the map, I'm always on alert and I'll do anything I can to cut off lines of sight from the ship and also from the ridge by sea, because that's another really popular power position. So this means, in my head, this entire area marked in red is a no-go zone if I don't have teammates around there. I won't even consider entering that area if I suspect enemies may be in the ship or on the ridge. I'd rather take the time to rotate all the way back to this side of the map to continue my streak, because it's a much safer thing to do. These sorts of spots are almost always situation dependent, so just make sure you always consider the probability of an enemy being in one of the power positions. And if there is an enemy in a power position, avoid fighting him head on. You can just completely avoid him and his lines of sight, or you can find a way to maybe flank him. They're called power positions for a reason. They have the clear advantage over certain lines of sight, so don't get caught in those lines of sight unless you're confident you'll be safe. Now, one last thing to discuss that somewhat relates to moving around the map is to make sure that your team is pushed up and has map control. In Domination or Blitz, when you have the map control, your enemies must come to you if they want to win the game. So if you have map control and you notice there's a gap in your team's setup, try to fill that gap, because that's likely where your enemies will be trying to break through. This may sound kind of confusing, so I'll do my best to illustrate what I'm talking about. So let's say I'm playing on Overlord and my team holds C and B, meaning that we control effectively 2/3 of the map. We have the map control. The enemy team is spawning at A, and they have to come to us or find a gap in our setup if they want a chance to win the game. If you look at my team's positioning, they left pretty much the entire right side of the map open. Once the enemies find this gap, they'll be able to come through there and get onto our flank, which could easily ruin our setup and turn the tables really quickly on the game. So just based on my teammate's location on the minimap, I can see this gap and I can carefully work my way over to fill the gap. Once I'm there, the enemy still has to come to me, so I should still have the advantage in any gunfight. And also, I get all the kills. I don't have to share those kills with my teammates because they're all still on the other side of the map. It's really a win-win situation. I get easy kills, and I help the team maintain the map control that we need to be so dominant. If you don't have map control, you have no business going for a KEM strike. First off, it's going to be very difficult to earn one when your enemy is just basically waiting for you to make a move. And second, even if you get the KEM, if you lose the game, it's just embarrassing and your team is just going to hate you. Okay, so those are all of the things that go through my head while moving around the map trying to earn a KEM strike. I always keep in mind the power positions and lines of sight. I try my best to move in an unpredictable manner. I take the time to fall back and regroup my thoughts every so often so I can make smart decisions. And finally, I always push for and try and hold map control with my team. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. In the next one, we're going to be talking all about psychology and basically what goes on in your head while you're trying to earn a KEM strike. And we're going to talk about how this can hold you back and how you can basically work to improve your mental state. I'll talk to you guys next time.